Welcome to the Author's Hour. My name is Fred Durham, and I represent the Friends of the Chautauqua Writers Center. We are a volunteer group that aims to encourage writers and writing, both on the institution grounds and beyond, by supporting and supplementing the official institution activities of the Writers Center. We sponsor weekly activities on Sundays at 5 o'clock up on the second floor of the Literary Arts Center at Alumni Hall in the Prose Room. We sponsor open mic, open to anyone, listeners or writers who want to read their work, that are 18 years old or older. On Tuesdays at 1:15 in the Poetry Room, we have what's called an informal critique. A published writer, usually me, but sometimes someone else, will lead a informal feedback session on one page of prose or poetry that you bring. Ideally, you bring 10 copies, although we have a way of getting some copies if you're not able to have copies. On Thursdays, we have this, the Author's Hour, every week at 12:15. Some of our special activities have already occurred. At the beginning of the season, we had a reception with friends right on this porch with free light refreshments. We had a book fair, the Authors Among Us book fair for Chautauquans who have written books. Upcoming, we have the Favorite Poem Project this Monday at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. I'm looking at something else here. At 5 o'clock. Thank you for the correction. Just for this thing. Okay. In the Hall of Philosophy, where selected Chautauquans will read their favorite poems and briefly explain why that poem means so much to them. The Literary Arts Contest for writers of all ages, cash prizes for the winner or winners, that closes on Sunday. For more information on any of these activities, you can go, as with most things these days, to a website, chq.org/FCWC. I think most of you have caught on. We have lyrics on lots of the chairs. Those are lyrics for the second half of our presentation. So please don't start singing during the first half, okay? Our first writer today is Townsend. He's a professor emerita of the Art and Design Department at Buffalo State University, where he both taught and served as chair. He holds a Master of Fine Arts in Applied Design from Ohio University. Her work in ceramics and mixed media has been exhibited nationally and internationally. Her poems have appeared in the journals Voices de la Luna, South Here, and the Healing News, and also in the Buffalo News and on the Master Poetry website. Her poem, No, was selected for the recent public art project, Soft Lit on the Move, sponsored by the Buffalo Literary Center and the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority. So you can sit on a bus or a bus stop, a bus stop. She has been invited to read in the Gray Hair, Rooftop, Wordslight, Literary Cafe, Red Door, Literary Cafe, a Musical Feast, the Buffalo Corner Reading Series, and most prestigiously, the Author's Hour. Yay. She is the author of the chapbook of Cinder in My Knee and the full-length book, The Color of Shadows, both of which will be on sale after this reading. She will be reading from both, as well as from soon-to-be-published, but yet-to-be-titled third book. So, Townsend.
Yay! Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I know there's so many pulls on our time here at Chautauqua. We tend to be running from one event to the next. But I do want to take a moment to thank Fred Sturm for all his work with the Friends of Chautauqua Writers Center. And it's actually due to the Chautauqua Writers Center that I have a career in writing at all. And so I'd like to pay homage to this incredible institution. Thank you so much. I'll read just one or two from my chapbook called A Cinder in My Knee. I grew up on a dairy farm in the middle of nowhere and started to write a poem about my father, an epic poem about my father. But then I realized it was so much better in individual poems about growing up in the farm. One of the things would be that the nearest neighbor was so far away, there were no play dates or anything like that. So this poem is about how I spent some of my time. Townsend's Pictured Encyclopedia. Door to door my mother went in her robin's egg blue Plymouth, lugging boxes of books, better than growing vegetables. World Book and Encyclopedia reigned in our neighborhood, but armed with the gravitas of a former teacher, he sold enough sets to win a trip to New York City, sold even more, and miraculously, a volume appeared in our rural mailbox once a month, until the bookcase groaned under the weight of all 15. While friends watched television, I read leather-bound, gold-embossed tomes from cover to cover. As soon as each arrived, looking up familiar words. In 7th grade, the teacher scolded me, said gossamer was not a word. Red marked my composition on the nature of angel wings. In high school, no nun could stump me with the Reader's Digest word of the month. The set moldered in my garage until yesterday's recycled pickup. Its pages stuck together, edges boxed, spines mildewed, no resale value for all that knowledge. Thank you. Farm Pond. The marsh that lay in the flat between two steep hills had been deepened into a pond from which cows drank, standing up to their flanks in August heat, when mosquitoes buzzed and bit. In winter, the water froze smooth. The hole would be topped, thickness declared. We laced up white leathered skates, skimmed across icy skin that separated us from bullheads in hibernation on the brackish green bottom that had squished between hooves and toes on hazy summer days. When every Friday morning, the hired man carried a pole and bait down to the pond, caught a half dozen of these catfish, lugged them back in a metal bucket, gutted them on the back stoop to be pan fried in butter, a melt in your mouth delicacy. If you could forget frightful tentacles, innards that stunk, if you could forget where they lived, if you were able to pick out each tiny bone. The next will be from my full-length book called The Color of Shadows. I don't know, do any of you have a middle name you can't stand? Okay. This poem is entitled Agnes, Agnes. Both my middle names are the same, Agnes, twice. Whom to honor? Agnes, shy aunt, drowned at 21. Agnes, pinched paternal grandmother. Or Agnes, martyr, patron saint of virgins and gardeners. Or maybe it was the other Saint Agnes, old master painted with both breasts cut off. Oh, that was Agatha. Even so, there should be a painting of a woman holding a plate upon which quivers a single breath. Whatever her name, call her my patron saint. Paint it triumphant. This was one of my early attempts at a love poem called Blue Stem, which is a type of prairie grass. Blue stem. This ache is the yearning that greens the bulb buried deep in earth. It fingers its way toward the sun. No, this ache is the urge of an old log under the thrall of summer rain to sprout an extravagance of mushrooms. No. In each other's arms we dance, two moths swirling on moonbeams, pheromones calling, body to body. Oh yes, this ache is the fire of frenzy, like prairie grass courted by lightning. I scatter. It's not necessary to clap after everyone, but I sure do appreciate it. The next series of poems are from my new manuscript. And there are 3 interrelated poems. They're all based on an old sweatshirt that my husband refuses to throw out. Maybe every husband has a piece of clothing like that. Yeah. This is called Ode to an Old Sweatshirt. After 30 years of washing, your exact color has been lost. Bold number 2 pencil hue, now faded to dull ochre. You are made of ordinary cotton, stretched out of shape, frayed at the neck, sleeves cut off, ending at the elbow. Venerable friend, my good luck charm, survival accomplished. You have comforted me while I mourned my many losses. Partner, daughter, job, mobility. But I am undeterred by your infirmities, despite my wife's threats to throw you out on garbage day. Wearing you is like being wrapped in sunshine. The fact is, I depend upon you even now. I too am faded, awkward, with pieces missing, tethered to pain and walker. Come, swaddle me, I beg of you, for I await my own demise, foreshadowed in each thread that snags, every seam that splits. Well, that's sort of like in my husband's voice. This one is in the old sweatshirt's voice. The old sweatshirt speaks. Do not fault the ancient whirlpool worker for my loss of hue. The blame for my dinginess lies with you, oh beloved one, who dribbles pea soup, maple syrup, chocolate milk down my front, which leads to rough scrubbing by that wife of yours, from whom you must do more to protect me. My biggest fear being that when you are not looking, she will bury me at the bottom of the garbage tote, or worse yet, cut me up for dust rags, the ultimate humiliation. Either way, I will pass into ignominy. I'm not pronouncing that right. Ignominy. Yet I forgive you, loyal buddy, because I do not know which of us keeps the other warm during these cold nights when you wear me to bed. And thanks for losing weight, which makes me stress less, perhaps adding years to my life. Who knows what I would do without you, dear friend? especially with your wife giving me the old side eye while holding in her hand a sharp pair of scissors. So I couldn't resist. I had to write one called The Wife Admits All. You would think that you, old nasty garment, was his girlfriend by now. He wraps himself in you, and you, cut off at the elbows, stretched out of shape, disgusting in your daily crust of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So tattered, torn, and stained. Stud sucker, shame on you for turning my husband into a geezer. For that, you will not be forgiven. To tell the truth, I do glare at him when he tries to sneak out of the house attired in you. When I hear the garbage truck round the corner, I cajole him to do the deed himself. Like a pet about to be put down, you might be consoled that way. But no, he refuses. Be assured, I am not jealous, for I am not being dumped for a decrepit pullover. After all, my skin is more lovely than your sallow complexion. But don't let him know that I tolerate you out of fear, O ancient adversary, that one day I will find my nose buried deep in you, breathing him in, remembering fondly his past foibles. I'd like to end on this poem, which is called Transcendence, and it's an ars poetica. It's really about writing at its core. Transcendence. I cannot help but scatter pieces of me, leaving them behind, marking certain places as mine, each astonishing, sacred, like the path that slides down the back slope of the Acropolis. The flattened peak of Monte Alban, where hawks cavort above clouds. The rope bridge hovering high over Rwandan jungle. But when fingers of sunlight slant, caress my garden late in the day, I am driven inside to lined paper, sharpened pencil, the altar of a writing desk. Only then do I reassemble and made whole again.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I thought you were going to get applause after every line. After a while. Very good. Just a couple halftime announcements. I'd like to give a plug to our sister art theater. Pride and Prejudice is currently playing and will close this Sunday. I recommend it. They're also doing a new play workshop on Friday and Saturday with the intriguing title, Cannabis Passover. Next week, I believe it's on Friday, their next play, Open Little Father. So if you're around next week, try looking into that as well. And now to sort of a triple introduction, collaborative effort here. First, we have the poetry of Jo McDougall, set to music by Marsha Giusti, songs by Sarah Jebian, and just a little bit about each of those three musketeers, okay? So Jo McDougall has published a memoir and 7 books of poetry, the latest being In the Home of the Famous Dead, Selected Poems, and The Undiscovered Room. She received the Arkansas Porter Fund Lifetime Achievement Award in Poetry in 2019 and a Pushcart Prize in 2020. Awards from the DeWitt Wallace Reader's Digest Foundation, the Academy of American Poets, and the Arkansas Arts Council, and numerous fellowships to the McDougall Colony. McDougall's work has been adapted for film, stage, and song cycles, one of which you will hear shortly. She lives in Arkansas, where she served as Poet Laureate of Arkansas and offers a mentoring and editing service for poets and writers. The composer and pianist, Marsha Giusti, has degrees in education and music by piano and a continuing interest in poetry. She had a 13-year career teaching elementary school. Then, while raising her son, she began a second career as a piano teacher, from which she recently almost retired after 25 years. For one student is 90 years old. What a joy to teach and learn from her success. Marsha's introduction to Chautauqua was as a teacher of the threes in the children's school in 1979. Since the 1990s, she has returned to Chautauqua almost every year with her husband and son, through high school at least, and has taken many poetry classes. In 2013, Marsha took a life-changing poetry class with Jo McDougall. In 2020, as the pandemic forced her to take a year off from piano teaching and desperate for something creative to do, she reread Jo McDougall's book of poetry, Dirt, then smiled at the muse who generally asked, "Why don't you compose some music to Jo's touching poetry?" So she did. She composed a song cycle of 8 poems for piano and soprano, which is what you will hear today with soprano Sarah Jebian. The lyrics are all from Jo McDougall's book of poetry, which will be for sale in the home of the famous chef. And now on to our singer. And a piece of paper falling. Sarah Jebian's voice has been described as, quote, warm milk chocolate, with also, quote, incredible flexibility in both style and genre. While primarily a musical theater performer, Sarah spends time in contemporary rock, pop, and jazz arenas, as well as dabbling in classical soprano work. Think Kelly O'Hara, meet Sarah Bareilles, with a dash of Barbara Bonnie for a good measure. Sarah's New York theater credits include The Sound of Music at Paper Mill Playhouse, A Night on the Town, Avalon, Mother Woke the Morning, and her solo cabaret acts, Going Back and Taking Flight. Regional theater credits include Man of La Mancha, where she played Townsend, On the Town, where she played Claire, Tuck Everlasting, May Tuck, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat narrator, and Next to Normal, Diana. In addition to her performing career, Sarah is a recording artist, theater director, producer, voice teacher, and vocal director. You can do Windows. Okay. Her debut album, Love Songs and Lullabies, was released in 2012. Sarah's second album, Not Your Mama's Hymns, with the band Unfolding, was released in 2019. She is currently preparing to release a few of her original songs throughout 2023. Sarah lives and works in the Northern California Bay Area with her husband, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. She has a website, www.sarah, that's with an H, Jebian, Jebian.com. And especially grateful that she flew here yesterday from California for this occasion. Take it away.
It's my
also give some applause to Jo McDougall, who has just joined us on Zoom over there. We've had unexpectedly efficient readers and performers today. So we do have time for a few questions if anyone has questions for, especially the people that are here live. It's a little trickier to get a question to Jo, but we might try that maybe by chat or something. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Yes, back there.
Yes. Where is this town? Is that a fictional town unit?
I will, do you happen to know? And if you don't happen to know, I will see if I can chat up. Okay, yes. Question is whether Eunice is a made-up town or not. Thanks, Chris. And we don't know right now, but I'm going to see if I can find out on chat. Okay. Any other questions? Because I don't want to delay. What I'll try to do is see if there's a question somebody can answer, then I can go over on chat. Yes, back there. Sarah. Yeah, when is Sarah going to sing again? Well, we hope to hear her again here sometime, but when's your next gig? Do you know?
I might be doing the Sound of Music in the fall in California.
Sound of Music in California in the fall, so let's all fly out there. Okay.
I'm happy to sing again if you invite me back.
Sure, sure. Certainly. This is, yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And this is great. This is the first time the Author's Hour has included music, so it's been a wonderful baptism. Okay? Great. Let's give everyone applause to say that I just a few closing announcements. And I'll try to find out about Eunice for those of you who are geographically curious, okay? Just a few things. One, if you were anticipating a Thursday CLSC author's speech at 3:30 in the Hall of Philosophy, that's not happening because the author of the week, Amar Tolls, spoke this morning at the amphitheater. But if you weren't planning on that, you can, I believe it was recorded for Chautauqua Assembly streaming. At 3:30 on Sunday in the Hall of Philosophy, we will have the Writers of the Week speaking. Danielle Legros-Georges will be reading from her poetry, and next week she will be teaching a workshop on persona poems, poems where you pretend to be somebody else, like maybe a sweatshirt, you know, okay? Also, in the prose writer will be Mary Kay Zrothkleb, probably butchering the name. Write Your Book is the name of her workshop. So if you have a book you've been waiting to write, that might be the workshop to get you going. Next week, here at 12:15 on Thursday for the Author's Hour, we have poet Carol Jennings. We'll be reading from her two books, Spirits at the Dead Piano and The Sustain Pedal. You can tell she's a pianist, okay? And Pat Owen will be reading from Bardo of Becoming and Orion's Belt at the End of the Drive. Some intriguing titles. So please join us then. Thanks so much for coming.